Okay. You may be wondering, uh, well, how much grammar do I need to know to teach English in China? Now, I'm going to assume that you want to teach adults. However, virtually everything I say, or a lot of what I say, is going to apply equally to the teaching of university students at colleges and universities across China, as well as to adolescents and teenagers. Maybe not quite so much. The young kids, sure, not so much. But at any rate, so the long and the short of it is you don't need too much to know that much in order to get a job. Now, that's important because don't screen yourself out. Don't take yourself out of the running. Don't think that, well, I can't apply for particular schools because, I don't know what a relative clause is, or I don't know what a gerund is. Don't worry. Although it is true, sure, if you have got a strong handle on English grammar and the role it plays in the context of teaching, it will make you a better teacher, but you can learn it as you go along. Okay, you can learn it as you go along, and thereby improve your teaching. Okay, um, and so if you're in your 20s or 30s and you have a college degree, don't think you can't apply for jobs at the best um, companies like Wall Street. They have hundreds of centers all over, right? Web International English, almost 200 uh, English schools all throughout China. Um, a school called Metin, EF. You've heard of EF. All these ones. Don't think you can't apply or get a good job there, because you can. So, now, one thing I will say is a lot of those schools, they will require you to have what's called a TEFL certificate, or sometimes it's called a TESL certificate. The TEFL is more common. It's TEFL, Teaching English as a Foreign Language. And I'm going to include in the description a link to the company that I went through and where I got my TEFL certificate. And the reason I chose them is because um, they are known to be accepted by the Shenzhen local government. Okay, and that's another thing. The issuance of visas and your right to work is something that's determined locally. All right, so they can have slightly different requirements for teachers in Beijing, as opposed to Shenzhen or some other area of China. Okay, so this is different than in the United States, right? But okay, I'm going to leave that for another video regarding this visa update, right? There's some changes in the visa laws, um, which in fact mainly favor native speakers, by the way. But I'll go into that in another video. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see it or if you want to get that update. Um, Now, most of those TEFLs or TESOL courses will teach you most all of what you need to know. They'll teach you about for example, you've got to have a strong handle on different parts of speech. That's one thing that I would recommend you that you do know, is knowing your parts of speech before you get over here. If you're really green when it comes to, oh, is this the first conditional or the second conditional? If it rains tonight, I will stay home. If I found $1 million, I would travel all around the world, or whatever, right? First and second. If you're like, well, I don't know which one is which exactly. I can't tell you. Don't worry about it. But I would try to get a handle on the parts of speech. What are parts of speech? What is a verb? You probably remember. You're going to start remembering what is a verb. What is a noun? What is an adverb? What is an adjective? What is a preposition? Okay, and then you kind of, if you will, as a native speaker, you will automatically hear your students make these mistakes. They'll say, "Oh, hello. I want to information you about my father. He lives in Jiangxi province." Well, information you. Okay, so information is a noun, but I want to inform you, right? That's a verb. So they've mixed up the noun and verb forms of the same word, right? They'll do that a lot. In part because there are no parts of speech in Chinese like that. Almost none. But by and large, Chinese doesn't have parts of speech the same way we do in English. That's a separate subject. You don't even need to know that. You definitely don't need to know that. I mean, you don't need to be able to compare and contrast Chinese and English grammar. Okay, I do, I can. But you don't need it. Okay, you don't need it. As a native speaker, you have an ear, okay? A natural ability to spot in a second that someone is making a mistake, right? And for example, in the last example where they were mixing up to inform somebody of something and information, right? You could simply say, you can simply provide them examples of correct usage, okay? As a native speaker, you have a massive database of what in teaching is called collocation. But let's just put it this way. You have a native speaker's ear for the language. You know automatically when they're making a mistake. And what you do, one of your most valuable roles is then to provide them a correct sentence. You need to give them an example that they can imitate, and then they'll automatically sort of induce. They will infer, "Oh, okay, now I get it from your examples." Okay, and maybe if you say, "Oh, well, information, it's a noun," that can give them just a little bit more information, a more concrete clue. You know, and you don't. Oftentimes, I won't butt in and refer to a part of speech or explain you needed to use the first conditional there, not the second. I often will not do that. Usually I don't do that. I'll just give them an example of correct usage. Okay, and you already can do that. All right, you already can do that, which is an advantage. You have sort of an innate qualification in some ways to be a good English teacher. Okay, and you can be an even better one if you do learn the grammar over time. But you should not, and there's also no point in telling them, "Oh, I don't know anything about grammar." Don't do that. But you can also say, you can be in an English class, and if a student asks you, "Is this a verb or a noun?" you might not know right off the top of your head. Okay, and there are certain adverbs that are kind of strange. You'll say, "Well, is that a preposition?" Well, you can say, "I'm not sure, but this is the way we use it." You can just say, "I don't know." I don't know, but you should have, your sentence should have been something like this, example 1, or this, example 2, okay? Because you hear what they're trying to say. Let's see. Okay, now, by the way, in Shenzhen, they are putting in a new rule that they're not going to issue visas to non-native speakers. So if your passport is not from America, if your passport is not from Australia or the United Kingdom or Canada, in the Shenzhen area, you are out of luck, okay? And they're not going to be giving you visas. I'm not sure. The way it works with Chinese rules is sometimes they put something on paper and then don't implement it, or they don't apply it uniformly. So there's subscribe to my channel, and I'll be able to tell you for sure, at least from people that are going through it and whether they have done it. I mean, if I have 2 friends that are on tourist visas and decide to go to get offered a job and go to Shenzhen and get the work visa, go to Hong Kong, get the work visa and come back. And last year I had 2 that did that. Then we know as a fact you can still do it. But apparently they're going to be putting in some changes. And right now I'm making this video on it's May 8th or 9th, May 8th, 2016. Again, May 8th, 2016. So stay tuned for updates. Uh, and that's another thing you need to understand, that the visa rules it's not in the United States where our immigration, visa, nationality law, visa law, visa laws, green card laws, all those different things are uniform across the board nationally. It's all the same, right? In China, they can implement slightly different policies, okay, or substantially different policies in different areas, okay? So that's something you need to know, and that's different in the Chinese system. Okay, and they also have different policies as to different nationalities. That is also something you need to know. Okay, um, they do that.